get to the news. The White House announced over the weekend that a third batch of classified documents was found at President Biden's Delaware home. You know, finding new ones every few days isn't helping. What are you guys doing over there? Searching one drawer at a time? Did he hide the documents in an advent calendar? That's right, a third batch of classified documents was found at President Biden's Delaware home in a room next to his garage. Man, is there a more Biden hiding place than the room next to the garage? Just telling neighbors, yeah, sure, you can borrow the weed whacker. It's in the room next to the garage. If you hit the nuclear codes, you gone too far. President Biden visited Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta yesterday to honor Martin Luther King Jr., became the first sitting president to deliver a Sunday sermon. And I'll tell you what, when he was done, there was not an open eye in the house. After the FAA last week temporarily grounded all domestic flight departures due to a computer outage, it's been reported that the software responsible is years away from a potential update. Really? Because I feel like if you just put Apple in charge, they'll update it every 3 months. New York Mayor Eric Adams yesterday visited El Paso, Texas to tour immigration facilities and meet with local officials. Dude, you're the mayor of New York. Why are you wandering all over the country like a dad at Sears? I'm gonna go look at the tires. Dad, we're here for my school supplies. Lottery officials have announced that the Mega Millions $1.35 billion jackpot was won by a single ticket holder in Maine. And if you're wondering what they're gonna buy with that, Maine. The National Weather Service has warned that a recent drop in temperatures in Florida could cause iguanas to enter a dormant state and fall out of trees, which has left residents of Florida scrambling for recipes. Mom, what's in the pasta? The Dallas Zoo was closed on Friday until a 4-year-old clouded leopard named Nova was returned to her habitat. Oh, you mean the jungle? Newsflash, no leopard's habitat is Dallas. Leopard print, sure, but not leopard. And finally, Italy's most wanted man and alleged organized crime boss, Matteo Messina Denaro, was arrested today after 30 years on the run. He's expected to serve at least 2 life sentences plus 5 years consulting on an HBO series about his life. President Biden hosted the NBA champion Golden State Warriors today at the White House, where they gave him an honorary jersey, and he gave them the location of Israel's nukes. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm gonna need those back. The White House said yesterday that it does not keep visitor logs for President Biden's personal residence in Delaware. If you want to know who visited, you'll just have to watch Jay Leno's garage. I might think these are classified documents. That's fine. Oh, yeah. Alabama and Mississippi yesterday observed a state holiday that honors Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Confederate General Robert E. Lee. I'm sorry, did I say and? Because I definitely meant or. I like them both. In a new episode of a podcast, former President Trump said that he heard Florida Governor Ron DeSantis may challenge him for the Republican presidential nomination and added, quote, "We'll handle that the way I handle things. So get ready, Ron. He's gonna cheat on you." That's how he do. When asked in a new interview about Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy said that McConnell is an enigma and added that he, quote, saw him smile once back in 2017. Said McConnell, "I remember it. It was at the end of Marley and Me."
That was very, that Marley finally got what was coming to her.
Prince William visited the charity Together as One today for a cooking lesson and shared his favorite cake recipe, tell someone to make you a cake. Missouri DMV officials recently released a list of the 500 vanity license plates that were rejected last year, including one that read, "God as," on the grounds of false advertising. The only reason I picked that joke today, the writers also describe what they want in the key over here, and the writer wrote, "A man with a flat ass shot in profile," and I was curious if it would be clear that he'd got no ass, and totally is. Today was talk show host Maury Povich's 84th birthday, so pretty safe to say he's not the father. A joke has a flat ass. And finally, according to a new report, 3 NFL teams are considering pursuing quarterback Tom Brady when he becomes a free agent, not to mention about a dozen bocce leagues. According to a new poll, President Biden would defeat former President Trump in a hypothetical 2024 election rematch by 8 points. Pretty bad, but not as defeated as I feel hearing about that poll. Can we not do this yet? It's January. The only thing I want to hear less than a presidential poll is a Christmas carol. Secretary of State Tony Blinken sent a cable to all embassies yesterday, directing staff to switch from Times New Roman font to Calibri, while President Biden will continue to speak in wingdings. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was assigned yesterday to the House Committee on Homeland Security. Well, she does seem to know about attacks before they happen. The Treasury Department said that tomorrow it will begin using extraordinary measures to keep the federal government running, which explains this new eBay listing. I think they made a terrible mistake adding free shipping. According to a new report, Republican Congressman George Santos allegedly stole $3,000 from a GoFundMe campaign for a dying service dog that belonged to a disabled veteran. And then get this, he used the money to buy dog poison. Now again, halfway through that joke, I started thinking, how do I think this is gonna go? It's a bad joke, but is it as bad as what he did? Still seems like you guys might think it's a tie. Looks like I'm Congress material. The Justice Department this week confirmed a new set of policies that incentivizes companies to report wrongdoing in exchange for deferred prosecution, which could prevent us from seeing over a dozen new limited series. Should we unplug it and plug it back in? A boy in Maine recently broke a Guinness World Record by building a nearly 12,000-piece Lego set in just over 9 hours, much to the chagrin of his parents. That was supposed to take you all year. New York's Port Authority announced yesterday that it will close the New Jersey-bound tube at the Holland Tunnel next month for construction. So if you need to go to New Jersey, I have even more bad news. Authorities in Washington state are looking for a man who allegedly tried to kidnap a barista by pulling them through the drive-through window. Despite the best efforts of police, the suspect remains at Venti. Yeah, I stand by it. I stand by it. Today was National Thesaurus Day. It was, good. And finally, the world's oldest known person, a French nun, has reportedly died at the age of 118. And I gotta say, I'd feel pretty bad if I was the one who bought her that skateboard. What happened to us? Well, to be fair, this is only our fourth show. 1,389? Come on. Now you're gonna tell me it's bad luck to make fun of a dead French nun? Is that her? Why we had to put her picture up? Oh, good. Look, I don't want to blame this on you guys. You've done nothing wrong. President Biden on Tuesday ordered lunch from the Washington restaurant Ghost Burger and got a burger with bacon. Wow, first the classified documents, now bacon burgers. It's like Trump never left. I mean, what's Biden gonna do next? Oh, no! In a series of posts yesterday on Truth Social, former President Trump pushed back against claims that he illegally stored classified files at Mar-a-Lago and accused federal agents of planting documents inside of empty folders he had taken. Oh, you are trying anything. That's like telling the police someone else put the cocaine there. I just collect tiny plastic baggies. Looks like Trump has upped his game to try and win back the title of most hilarious liar. The first anti-abortion March for Life rally is set to take place tomorrow in Washington, D.C. since the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade, though I'm not sure their updated chants have the same impact. What do we want? Roe overturned. When did we get it? Last year. The Justice Department announced the arrest of the Russian founder of a cryptocurrency exchange in Miami this week on charges of laundering over $700 million. The DOJ first became suspicious when he was a Russian in Miami. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis criticized the NHL last week for plans to hold a hiring event aimed at diversifying the league's workforce. Imagine how racist you have to be to think that hockey isn't white enough. This is exciting news. Rapper Snoop Dogg is set to be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, which is the songwriting profession's highest person. According to the latest numbers, there are 1,400 stores in New York that are illegally selling marijuana, and at least 1,400 other stores that are deeply grateful for that. The Senate Judiciary Committee has announced that it will hold a hearing next week on Ticketmaster's mishandling of Taylor Swift's ticket sales, and even that's sold out. According to a new study, men who take Viagra decrease their risk of developing heart disease by nearly 40%. So even more bad news for exhausted grandmas. He's gonna be around for a while. And finally, health officials in Canada released new guidelines this week that say no amount of alcohol is healthy, but take that with a grain of salt and a wedge of lime. That was a monologue, everybody.